finding the a value, right? You want to use the a value, and the a value is the value that zeroes out. Like, what is a here? 2, right? The reason a is 2 is basically you can set this, your binomial, set it equal to 0, and the x value that zeroes out that statement, right? If I set this to 0 and solve for x, that gives me my value of a, okay? So a is 2. So down here, one of these harder ones, like these two are harder, right? We didn't do an example like that. So here, it's just like solving for x, right? When you were finding your x-intercepts, solving the roots. 2x plus 5 equals 0. So that must mean x equals negative 5 over 2. Like the root of this little equation is, so that's what my a value is. Okay, so a equals negative 5 halves. All right, so that's what I have to substitute into this equation. We're not, this book gets a little more into fractions than we absolutely have to, but it's a good little exercise. So let's just try this one together, see how good I would try to do this one without a calculator at all. So I'm trying to find the remainder when a equals negative 2.5. I'm going to leave mine in fraction form. This could be tricky, right? Like I say, this is getting a little deep. It's definitely good practice with fraction work, for sure. Okay, did I get everything? I think I got everything. So remember exponents first. So negative 5 cubed is negative 125. 2 cubed is 8. And that gives me 25 fourths. And this gives me positive 35 halves. All right, let's hopefully some of these denominators end up disappearing a bit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my kind of make things easier. The 2 cancels with the 8, right? Becomes 4. So I have negative 125 fourths plus 75 fourths plus, let's change this to fourths too. That would be 70 fourths. Let's change this to fourths too. 12 fourths. If I have an LCD of 4. Okay, so I'm gonna, if my denominators are the same, now I can combine my fractions. I have a positive 145, right? I have a positive 145, a negative 125. I'll deal with this 12 later. So that gives me a positive 20, right? Positive 20 minus 12, that would give me 8 fourths, which is 2, right? All that work for that value. Hopefully it's the right answer. Fractions become very important in our trigonometry unit, right? So anytime you can practice fractions, I would. Yeah, you could whip out your calculator, right, for sure, and you could get the same answer. But try and, if you can and you've got the time, I would practice with fractions anytime I could. Okay, now, that being said, I find these questions the first time we've used the book, and it seems, I mean, it covers all the bases. But there's really not much difference between number 1 and number 2, right? It's the same type of question over and over. So I'm not sure you have to do all of these. Like there's what, 7 questions here, 7 here. I don't know if you have to do all 14 questions, so maybe skip every second one. I wouldn't worry so much about the fractions work, but again, if you got some time, practice them. All of our work is going to be done with integrals, like with integer a values. So maybe let's just slide over here just for something different. And you can finish this homework at home, but it's really not, the questions are quite repetitive, right? How about this? There were a couple questions like that for homework. So let's try a couple of these too, or how many people have finished number 3 already? You done it? How would you approach a question like this? It's slightly different. When 2x squared plus kx minus 5 is divided by x minus 2, the remainder is negative 1. It's kind of like a backwards question, right? They're giving you the remainder, and you got to work backwards and find a k value. How would I start this question? Any ideas? Well, what's my a value, by the way? A is 2, right? So if I kind of substituted in, what do I know? I know I could substitute p at 2, right? So p at 2 would be what? 2 times 2 squared. I don't know k, that's my mystery number. Minus 5. Now normally I substitute all my a values in to figure out what my remainder is, right? But this time, they give me the remainder, right? All of this multiplied out is supposed to equal the remainder. Well, this time they've given me the answer. I'm just trying to find part of the question. Yeah? You're just solving for k. So I have 2 times 4 is what? 8 plus 2k minus 5 equals negative 1. 2k equals, so that would be a 3, so I guess negative 4 on this side. So k must be negative 2. Yeah? So I'll let you finish those. Maybe I'll put this is a challenge question. A challenge questions, meaning you can try them if you want. And if you don't, you can leave them. I'm going to give you a few more minutes to work on these types of questions. Then at 1:30, I'm just going to talk to you about the next section that we're going to be exploring. Now, set you up for some homework questions too.